ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Friday marks one.
And I don't want another family standing here talking about, the loss of their boys.
Friday marks 1 year since 8 Marines and a sailor were killed during a training accident near San Clemente Island. Tomorrow morning, lawyers for their families plan to share a major announcement. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala heard from the parents of one Marine who are still searching for answers 1 year later.
He had a wonderful personality. He was very well liked.
Evelyn and Carlos Baltierra can't help but smile when they bring back memories of their son Brian. He was 18, almost 19, one of 4 children, but the only son, and a Marine for exactly 1 year.
Has been probably a dream of his ever since he's been small.
He was so happy and proud. Dad was like crying, and we were just so proud of him.
But last July, 1 sailor and 8 Marines, including Brian, were killed when the amphibious assault vehicle, or AAV, they were in sank off the coast of San Clemente Island, one of the deadliest AAV accidents in Marine Corps history.
It was even after training. They were going home for the day. They were going back on the ship for the day.
Since then, these parents have searched for answers. Friday marks 1 year since they lost their son.
It's like a silent grief.
They were given what they say were extremely lengthy, heavily redacted investigative reports earlier this year, and ultimately told this tragedy was preventable. But that's left them with even more questions.
To really know the truth, that this could have been all avoided and our boys would have still been alive, it's so hard to understand.
I think as parents, we deserve to be told exactly what happened. And redacting a report will always have this question mark.
On Thursday, the Baltieras say they and families of the other fallen servicemen plan to meet with a company that creates AAVs in an effort to better understand from a different perspective why this possibly happened and what's being done to promote safer vehicles.
And make sure that the new ACVs that are being built don't have the same problems that the old AAV has.
Their lawyers also plan to release what they're calling a major announcement and video from inside of the AAV the day of the incident. As they continue this painful journey for answers, these parents are keeping their son's memory alive and doing what they can to make sure others never go through the same thing.
We want answers. We want to make sure that our boys will never be forgotten.
Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
San Diego police have arrested a local substitute teacher accused of being in possession of child pornography. As our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us, police are looking for more potential victims.
The teacher was arrested yesterday and booked at the Vista Detention Facility. Police say he worked at 2 major school districts and the Boy Scouts. Wednesday, San Diego police announced the arrest of 31-year-old Andrew Jared Primes for possession of child pornography. Detectives say they found Primes was responsible for possessing and sharing thousands of images. Primes has worked at the Poway Unified School District, San Dieguito High School District, and as an instructor for a Boy Scout summer camp. Wednesday, all 3 places of employment sent ABC 10 News statements saying Primes no longer works with them. Poway Unified says they've notified all families of his former students, adding that all employees at the district go through background checks before being hired. The Boy Scouts said they are deeply saddened by this behavior and that, quote, the incident appears to be unrelated to scouting. Primes was removed and is prohibited from any future participation in their programs. San Dieguito told us the teacher is a former employee and that authorities gave them no reason to believe any current or former students are connected to or are victims in any manner. Detectives say they did seize multiple devices to look for any additional evidence. Any potential victims are asked to call police. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
After weeks of negotiations and stalled talks, senators from both sides of the aisle struck a deal tonight on an infrastructure package. The plan includes $550 billion in new spending, $110 billion for highways, $65 billion more to expand broadband internet, and $73 billion to modernize the electric grid. By one estimate, it would create roughly 500,000 new manufacturing jobs by 2024.
At a time when Washington seems broken, this group of members behind me came together, along with others, and decided we were going to do something great for our country.
Despite this being seen as a win for President Biden, more hurdles do remain before that final vote. Negotiators are still finalizing the final text of the bill as debates are set to begin on the Senate floor.
We have new information on a crash earlier this evening in La Mesa. One man is dead and the driver is recovering. Police say a Volkswagen SUV went out of control, plowing through a parking lot and crashing inside an office building on University Avenue. A police officer happened to be a few cars behind the SUV and was able to call for help. Police say the person who was killed was not inside the car and pronounced dead at the scene, while the driver was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries.
It's a shame. You feel a little loss, even though you don't know. You feel a little loss when somebody passes away.
It's not yet known what led to the crash.
All right, turning now to our weather. A statewide flex alert just ended a couple of hours ago. Our ABC 10 News meteorologist Angelica Campos is tracking those rising temperatures. Angelica.
Hi, Stephen. Typically, when we talked about a flex alert, there's either a heat wave or a heat advisory. The closest one to us happens to be in Northern California, and it will be ending Friday night. So if that is the trend, the heat that's impacting the Northwest is going to be impacting our region for the next several days, potentially through the end of the week. Right now, the number's at 67 degrees in Ramona, 67 also in Escondido. It will be warm for the next couple of days, and for tomorrow, we'll see temperatures right around 80 at the coast, close to 90 inland. Slightly above the average, but only in a few places. I'll have the rest of your forecast coming up.
And California is now recommending everyone return to indoor masking regardless of vaccination status as the Delta variant continues to spread. And the move comes one day after similar guidance was announced by the CDC. ABC 10 News reporter Rena Nakano spoke with parents who rallied against mask mandates today at the county administration building.
The county is aligning with both the CDC and the state guidelines that say that you should wear a mask indoors regardless of your vaccination status. We looked at how this could affect the restaurant industry. The past 17 months have been a roller coaster for Chivico 1845 owner Dario Gallo.
I think that people are tired about all of this.
He's short-staffed and still recovering from the effects of the pandemic, but the loosening of restrictions a few months back started helping him get back on track.
Now that we're allowed to seat people indoor, it's a big help because, of course, is more capacity for restaurants.
But this week, the CDC, state, and county retracted its masking recommendations, saying they are now urging everyone, regardless of vaccination status, to wear masks indoors. Experts say the Delta variant is far too contagious to take the risk.
I feel sorry for business owners that are going to have to try to enforce this and some of the conflict that they might see. I would just beg people to just go along with it, just wear the mask, get the vaccine, protect yourself, and we'll hopefully move past this.
At this point, no one is enforcing anything. Masks are only recommended and not required in restaurant settings. But Gallo says he isn't too fond of it possibly becoming a mandate again. Months ago, when masks were required for customers, Gallo remembers a few instances where patrons would verbally attack hostesses. It may also result in a drop in sales again.
A part of the people, they're not going to go out to restaurant anymore, and they will maybe do takeouts and delivery. So it's going to impact us, yes, I believe.
Gallo says he is closely monitoring Cal OSHA to see if his staff have to wear masks again. Now, if it comes to his customers, he's waiting to see if this recommendation becomes a mandate. In downtown, I'm Rena Nakano, ABC 10 News.
Today, Pfizer released new data suggesting a booster shot can greatly increase protection against the Delta variant. For an in-depth look, we spoke to a local doctor about whether this is necessary. Pfizer's research looked at administering a third dose at least 6 months after that second shot. Now, the company says antibody levels against Delta in people ages 18 to 55 are greater than 5-fold compared to their second shot. In people 65 to 85, antibody levels are greater than 11-fold. 23 people were part of this study. Dr. Joe Susandu with Sharp Healthcare says that the data is encouraging but gave a warning.
It's always good to hear that we have updated information and therapies for an evolving virus. But at the same time, pharmaceutical companies also have their personal interests in mind.
Some critics say that Pfizer is incentivized by pushing a booster shot. Today, Pfizer released its latest financial information, reporting $7.8 billion in vaccine sales just last quarter, nearly half of its total sales of $19 billion. The biopharmaceutical giant is up 92% year over year in revenue. The company expects sales for its vaccine this year to reach about $33.5 billion, up nearly 30% from its forecast 3 months ago.
And so as a medical professional, we want to take unbiased information. And so we rely on the CDC for guidance. And the CDC also does a rigorous investigation in terms of other therapies that are out there and new therapies before we make any clinical decisions in the office.
The CDC and the FDA have said a booster shot is not necessary as of yet. Pfizer is planning to seek emergency use authorization for its third dose as soon as next month.
San Diego County reported 765 new COVID cases today, pushing our pandemic total past 294,000. In less than a month, our rolling percentage for positive cases has jumped from 1% to nearly 7.5%.